Hello everyone and welcome back to the next episode of Inhuman Resources. We are just coming to the end of our interview with Abuya and things have gone a little bit out of hand and we need to decide whether to stay and kind of hopefully bargain our way out of this, or we need to run. The problem I have with running is that I don't see any way if that is going to end well, whereas at least if we stay and talk we might be able to find our way out of here. But then again, I don't really want to be confronting my boss, but we're going to do this one. Demand your boss. Explain what the hell they're doing to these people. Mr. Burgar flinches as you let out an anguished scream, but he doesn't seem startled, let alone afraid. You mostly get the impression that he's baffled by the sheer stupidity of your question. He repeats it slowly, as though making sure he heard correctly. What are we doing? Why, what we've always done here at Smirnocore, of course. We're replacing problem members of society with custom-trained lab-raised actors that will leave more efficient lives in our targets' places. It's our company's foolproof, flawless, and highly exclusive human resource solution. And what's more, we perform today's processes all according to your specifications. Your specifications? You had nothing to do with this. Unperturbed by our protest, Burgar mentions to the silhouetted surgeons, kindly picking both Meliano's wet and naked craniums. First, as standard procedure, we have our doppelgangers undergo extensive surgeries. This ensures their size and appearance matches their target. However, we also perform highly precise neural excisions and hormonal dosing sessions to ensure both replacement and replacee have identical synaptic pathways even. This means they'll share the same tastes, reflexes and handicaps wherever applicable. Furthermore, as per your suggestion, I've encouraged our surgeons to physically exercise all sections of the brain unrelated to workplace performance. I'm not entirely sure if that's how the so-called firewalls are supposed to work for computers, but either way, our doppelgangers should only know obedience and thus never disobey. After completing his bleak announcement with a showman's tone, the giant points to the device on his desk. Its myriad cables run on the floor and worm their way through slits in the two-phase glass, connecting to the flashing televisions hanging above the patient's faces. Next, we bombard our subjects with doctored historical information and falsified childhood memory footage to rewrite their lived experiences. This will erase problematic attitudes and induce more desirable proclivities. Of course, due to the inconveniences of reality I mentioned before, we need to strike a careful balance between perfection and impurity. In order to produce a well-rounded, persuasive duplicate, we need to reward certain bad behaviours while punishing good ones. It's all a matter of nuance, see? With an emphatic flourish, Abuya tweaks another one of the machine's many knobs. A television screen flickers, replacing its gruesome slideshow of warfare footage with pictures of a pastoral farm. The loud Emiliano squirms, then screeches. Finally, the two behemoth nods to Melusine, whose eyes glance between both her patients, taking notes whenever one of them imitates the other. The two are becoming increasingly impossible to tell apart. Last but not least, Miss Sancier arguably has the most important task of all, quality assurance. You see, our procedure is human, not mechanical. Instinct trumps algorithm when it comes to understanding people, thus it's imperative for staffers with an eye for social cues to study the effects of non-sedated lobotomies, particularly during back and forth exchanges between target and replacement. This allows us to adjust mediatic nutrition quickly and to identify overlooked flaws in body language, voice modulation or personality. All this ensures that doppelgangers perform their jobs correctly. And what's more, I followed your suggestions regarding precautionary measures and asked Melusine to be an extra thorough today. She will ensure that not a single shred of non-Smirnocore approved thought lingers in that doppelganger's brain. He will be the perfect product. Not to mention a good test run for security upgrades we developed through the Radium Inc. partnership. Holy shit, he wasn't lying. You may not have pulled the trigger, but you did help him load the gun. As you reel from the weight of the revelation, Abuya holds up 3 fingers. One by one, he curls them down. Physical rewiring, psychological reconditioning, social reintegration. Those are the pillars upon which Smirnocore substitution services are built. This is how we guarantee that tens of thousands of doppelgangers currently deployed to the public perform exactly as they must. It's how our company has controlled the course of human civilization for years upon years, steering it in whatever direction our executives deem right. It's how the people have shown up at the right times and the right places, how the wrong items or ideas have never appeared in opportune occasions, is how you will help us do our job, regardless of which department you are ultimately assigned to. So, are there any further questions about your new job's responsibilities? Let's try deflect blame. Why didn't my aunt tell me about this? The only logical explanation is that she didn't know this kind of insanity was occurring at her workplace. After all, the woman can be a little heartless, but she wouldn't stoop to getting you a job torturing people just to get her rent money. Or would she? Oh, I'm afraid your aunt was very aware of the procedures we conduct here. She's undergone one herself, after all. It's part of what makes her such an exceptional recruiter. But please, don't resent her for keeping so much sensitive information confidential. To borrow an expression, we have many fingers shoved quite deep into a surprising amount of pies. He spreads his arms, taking up a dramatic stance. His muscular limbs cast a vast, all-consuming shadow, much like the one his company must cast over the world. Societies, you see, are merely sets of rules, meant to control set populaces, enforced by means of moral codes and legislative threats. Histories are naught but narratives parading as objective fact, controlling the future by redefining the past. Economies are broad equations engineered to establish hierarchies and restrict freedoms indirectly. Our motive is to alter the evolution of all these entities, everywhere in the world, for the betterment of our species. This can mean overturning governments, with silent revolutions, establishing or destroying businesses to reroute the flow of wealth, even altering history in ways that force us to reinterpret the present. All the world's a stage. Men and women, many players. But Smyrna Core is the playwright, casting every actor's role. Today your role has been decided too, and if you care to keep a roof over your head, you should refrain from delivering a disappointing performance. The giant's index finger prods your chest as he speaks. Each tap is like a bullet thudding against a Kevlar vest. Across the mirror, Emiliano screams as though he felt those gunshots too. His cries an ode to the dark future which awaits you. A future of perpetual, inescapable servitude. If I say no, I'm going to end up like him, I would imagine. Abu is right, you need money, agree to work here until you saved enough to quit. The thought of helping these monsters makes you sick, but turning down the offer means you end up on the street. Thus you promise Burgard to work hard and do better than Emiliano. For now. Wonderful, but be advised you need to perform very well for a very long time if you intend your time with us to be temporary. After all, we've already signed our first contract, and its strictest clauses do not expire anytime soon. The man's pale eyes drift towards your hand, the one he shook that you thought was bleeding. Looking into your palm, you realise the hunch was fully justified, because something did pierce it. There's a lump beneath the skin, a small, subtle, rectangular protrusion you hadn't noticed till now, probably because it wasn't flashing, let alone making such an obnoxious sound. This, my friend, is what we refer to as a non-disclosure microchip, a brand new addition to our confidentiality policy, specifically designed by our future partners at Radium Incorporated. It serves as an ID to access our offices, but also as an employee loyalty failsafe, should you ever emit brain activity associated with treason, unauthorized divulgation of confidential data, or any such nasty business. The chip will emit a warning signal. Should the warning go unheeded, a lethal dose of borodinium-210 will be discharged, a nigh untraceable radiotoxic isotope capable of introducing total organ shutdown within seconds. In other words, lest you care to experience a particularly messy demise, I suggest you remain on your best behaviour until you die of natural causes. The microchip starts beeping faster till it matches the demented tempo of your beating heart. No telling which of the two is about to explode first. The signal is interrupted by Mr. Burgard as he checks his belt-sized watch. Dearie me, seems I lost track of time. Other appointments beckon. I'm afraid our meeting is at an end. You best return home and get plenty of rest. You'll need it for your onboarding. Please don't consider suicide as a solution to prematurely terminate your employment. I'm well aware of your unfortunate mental health diagnosis, but I'll be ever so unhappy to see such a predictable scenario come to pass, especially since we've just been wasting time replacing you with a doppelganger or otherwise. I recommend you try and join this if you can. Your moral crisis and panic attacks should be like water running off the proverbial duck's back. As the buoy chuckles, an elevator door screeches open behind you. The open shaft greets you like the gaping maw of a deep-sea fish. You glance behind the open door, and your manager, wondering if it's really safe to leave. But by the time he gives you a cheeky wink, you're already making a run for it. Your fingers smash every single button on the keypad's confusing display, hoping some combination of the keys will get you as far as possible. Eventually, the grillage gate slams shut, the floor lurches upward, and Mr. Burgard waves goodbye, speaking the most chilling words you've heard all day. See you tomorrow. Your microchip's alarm slows to a crawl as all your hopes and dreams die a slow, whimpering death. Congratulations. You're hired. Proceed to the nervous breakdown. That doesn't feel very good. You're back in your apartment, but you're not sure how you got home. Probably because your brain is full to bursting with things you never wanted to know. Smirnocore, doppelgangers. The fat Burgard expects you to arrive at 6 AM tomorrow and know even more. It's just too much. For a moment you contemplate physically clawing out the knowledge festering inside your skull, but the intrusive thought evokes a far too vivid memory of what was happening to Miliano. It's what might happen to you next should you choose to disobey. In the end, you do the only thing that makes sense. You don't turn on the lights, don't collapse into your bed and cry, don't indulge whatever modest vices normally get you through each day. You merely toss your phone onto the counter, run into the bathroom, drop down to your shaky knees, and void the contents of your stomach into a familiar bowl of porcelain. As per usual, vomiting is both relief and agony. It burns your throat and knocks your stomach, makes you wish you were dead, yet the pain provides distraction from the horrors of the day. A shame you haven't eaten much. The distraction would have lasted longer. Wiping strands of puking saliva off your chin, you go to wash your fifth face and brush the bile off your teeth. It's bad for enamel, dentists claim. However, upon witnessing your reflection in the mirror, you freeze. A sagging, gaunt, hollow-eyed shadow person you used to know stares back. It's enough to make you wonder if you've also been replaced. Let's destroy that mirror. Glass shatters as your knuckles crunch through your reflection's skull. Shards tinkle as they scatter across the bathroom tile. Others burn as they sink into your flesh of your fist, turning into a trembling, glittering pincushion. It hurts. A lot. You're pretty sure you nicked a ligament or did permanent damage to a finger, but at least you don't have to look at that face anymore. One by one, you put the razor-sharp bits of glass in your hand, washing them down the sink. You wrap your fist in a towel and leave to search for a first aid kit. As you navigate the unlit apartment, you sidestep tracks of trash and laundry by memory alone. You haven't tidied up in a long time. The placement of each garbage landmine is familiar enough to be subconscious, and that's what lets you realise that something is wrong. The floor is squeaky clean against your feet. Your bedsheets snugly pulled and fitted. The musk of shame and body sweat replaced it by one of ammonia. In a panic, you flip the light switch, and your suspicions are confirmed. Someone broke in while you were gone, and they cleaned the place. This could be Smirnocore's doing. Check for surveillance equipment. There's no mistaking the smell of the cleaning solvent from the office. Someone from the company must have done this, probably so they keep an eye on you. Grabbing a screwdriver and some pliers, you scour your apartment for proof. Sure enough, your paranoid hunches prove correct. Most of the devices are too small to see without squinting. The more you search, the more you find. There are cameras hidden inside power outlets, microphones tangled in light bulb filaments, some sort of radio-based photographic recorder concealed in your smoke detector. And the second you try removing one, a familiar screech is heard. Great. Trying to regain a little privacy could end up killing you, and trying to flee instead? Your skull throbs as you contemplate methods to escape. But every option you come up with feels more futile than the last. Leaving the country and changing your name likely wouldn't be enough to wriggle out of Smirnocore's grass. Suicide accomplishes nothing if doppelgangers can replace you. Considering betrayal by leaking company secrets, a pinprick of green flashes underneath your palm as the Smirnocore ID chip reacts to your controversial thoughts. As long as this thing is in you, you'll never get anywhere. You have to do something about it. Research the device online, you might discover a design flaw. You've often looked up guides to programming or appliance repair. If you can fix a microwave after tearing it apart, you can handle this with the help of a good tutorial. Rush into your laptop, you boot a few search engines and begin your hunt for answers. Unfortunately, the search ends almost instantaneously. Whether thanks to cameras, microphones, or some hyper-advanced brain scanner, your microchip can even sense you searching for controversial data online, and pushing your luck any further may well lead to a lethal discharge. This is fucked. It's even more fucked that they've blocked access to social media and porn sites too. Smirnocore likes their staffers to be discreet and chaste for some reason. The warbled voice is so startling, you almost knock the computer off your desk, catching it at the last moment before it clatters to the floor. You whip around the room in a panic, searching for hostile invaders in the corners of your empty home. Only familiar shadows stare back. Call out for the intruder to show themselves. You raise your laptop like a weapon and try to make yourself sound intimidating. But your cracking, half-sobbing voice isn't particularly threatening. The unseen stranger's warbled spiel continues without missing a beat. Settle down. I'm not here to hurt you. Just to give you a friendly warning to a fellow victim. Now come closer, it'll be easier to talk if I don't have to yell through this crappy speaker. Steadily, your eyes zero in on the voice's source. It's the old cell phone you treasured for long, emitting a soft glow and noises you never heard it make. This, you suspect, is not a phenomenon the manufacturer intended. Dazed and confused, you flip your phone open. You are not greeted by an icon, a caller ID or text message, but by distorted video footage. Deep within the live feed's peculiar reddish screen, a static warped face stares through the pixelated screen. The image quality is too low to tell if they're a man or woman, the sound too tinny to decide if they're young or old. You feel a nagging certainty that this person is important. Nice to finally meet you face to face, so to speak. I'm assuming you've had better days. Now I don't have much time to explain what's going on. Listen close and make sure not to hang up, otherwise you could be in danger. I'm not going to hang up, I will listen. At least for the time being. A high-pitched pulse of static brings out of your device. Laughter, you suspect. Odds are this person wasn't expecting you to agree so quickly, but certainly aren't complaining either. Thanks. I knew I could count on you. Call me L, by the way. I'd give you my real name if I could, but if Smirnocore ever picks your brain for answers, they figure out who I am, where I live, or what I'm planning, and neither of us want that. That you do not. Especially since L person doesn't mean brain-picking in any metaphorical sense. Your palms begin clamming up, and your breathing becomes shrill. Maybe this was a bad idea. Don't worry, our connection's secure. I'm communicating on a limited frequency that disables your microchip sensors and any other recordings devices they may have installed. You can say or think anything you want with me, Smirnocore won't know a thing. See, those human resource maniacs only trust archaic, discontinued tech. It's a precaution against hacking attempts or something. That means cutting-edge shit is always such taboo for them, unless it comes from a trusted business partner. Since your clunker of a flip phone still connects to cell towers, not to the internet, I'm basically in the biggest, bestest, most unhackable blind spot I could ever ask for. The stranger speaks with tremendous confidence and breakneck urgency. The fearful thrill of knowing that this time is limited mingles with their robotic coldness. Better cut to the chase. Who are you, and what do you want from me? Who I am doesn't matter right now. What does is the fact I want to take down Smirnocore, dismantle the entire company, reveal what they've done, and set the human race free. To do that, I need help from someone on the inside, and you're literally the only person on the planet I can trust to do this. Your eyes bulge and your pulse quickens. A stranger has just promised to tear the bars off your new cage. It must be a miracle. Or perhaps too good to be true. I don't know how much you've heard about Smyrna's upcoming business partnership during your interview, but looking to team up with the humongous tech conglomerate Radium Inc. That's right, you did hear the name mentioned a few times. Not just at the office, but on the news too. Hell, you vaguely remember applying to work for them as a programmer a few months back, which obviously didn't pan out. Perhaps that rejection was for the best. As makers of some of the most advanced consumer devices on the planet, Radium's technologies are ubiquitous worldwide. From security cameras to self-driving cars, communication satellites, and smartphones far more advanced than yours, their digital footprint is everywhere. However, their list of human rights violations is just as vast. Not a day goes by where the media won't report their latest lawsuits, their inhumane worker abuses, their hazardous waste dumping, their illegal data laundering, or even their consumer deaths. It's honestly a miracle the company hasn't already been sued into oblivion. Yeah, well, that might be happening soon. I don't know all the details of the contracts they're working out yet, but I do know radium is in deep shit. The company needs money and fast. And since Smonacore is about as cutting edge as a dial-up modem, they see a ton of potential in purchasing a more contemporary competitor. Thing is, this buyout deal would have as many next control human history at a bigger scale than ever. The second this contract gets signed, Smonacore will have access to a full suite of new radium hardware that's already been disseminated throughout the wider public, the kind of tools that can let them crank out more doppelgangers than ever, or even lobotomize people remotely. Think about it. Entire countries could have their populations replaced overnight. Databases of shared knowledge could be scrubbed in seconds. Objectives truth and free could forever become relics of a bygone past. The only way to stop that from happening is by hitting Smonacore where it hurts before their deal goes through, creating the kind of data breach this company can never recover from. Your head, already full to bursting, bloats with further revelations. You each have something to hold on to and almost fall over trying. So many doubts, so many fears, so many goddamn questions swim about your brain. It feels like your mind is drowning in them. You don't even know where to start. But Elle's image blows a bursting static, warning you to start asking soon. Why should I trust you? Look at it this way, your aunt always said choices have consequences, right? Well, right now your choices have turned you into the perpetual wage slave of a secret mega corporation from which death can offer no reprieve. Also, your house was robbed. Clearly not a great track record on the decision-making so far. Whether or not you choose to trust me is completely up to you, but if you have any intention of living in a world Smonacore doesn't control, I suggest you at least choose to work with me, if nothing else. Hard to argue with that. An enemy of your enemy is better than nothing, and you don't need to become good friends to be good co-workers. Why contact me? How am I supposed to stop this? That's not true. I don't think there's a single person on Earth that could be more perfect for this job. 1. You work as Smonacore, meaning you have eyes on the inside. 2. You're a new hire, so no one will suspect you for asking questions, and gives us a way to gather information without much risk. 3. You have that new radium microchip, which is easier for me to bypass than the older employees' non-disclosure failsafes. And 4. You're desperate to escape, so I'm willing to bet you'll take a few risks. And 5. Well, one's more personal. Let's just say I have good reason to think you're coupled and trustworthy. Bottom line is, I need your help specifically, and so does the human race. The explanation is equal parts sensible and suspicious, but there's an undeniable earnestness to the plea too. This stranger really does think you're a chosen one of some kind. They're a bit insulted that it's mostly a matter of circumstances, and not due to your unique brand of subpar skills. Fine. What do I need to do next? Glad to hear you're on board. We might actually have a shot at winning now. The feature's face on your phone screen warps nigh indiscernibly. You're not entirely certain, but you suspect Elle is smiling. When they next speak, their voice is more distorted than ever. It seems your connection is running thinner by the second. Alright, here's the plan. There's a maximum security facility deep below your Smonacore office. Employees call it the Hive. I'm not 100% sure why it's called that or what it does exactly. All I know is that Smonacore doesn't want any unauthorized individuals finding out what's inside. You need to find a way in. Then you'll look for the most highly classified pieces of documentation you can possibly get your hands on. Steal it, escape and bring it back to me. Then I'll leak whatever is on it to the wider world, and Smonacore will never be able to operate in secret ever again. This might sound like suicide, but don't worry, you'll have a friend on the inside. The receptionist, Melusine, she's another one of my connections, but she hasn't been able to do much alone, plus she's deathly afraid of being replaced. Too afraid to make the bolt use you will. Find her and ask for help. As a fellow employee, should have full clearance to teach you about the Hive. Just make sure to not get too nosy, or your microchip will go off. If that happens, she'll be overseeing your lobotomy next. The phone's distorted static worsens more and more. The warbled face upon your screen no longer looks remotely human. Then, right as the image warps with any shred of recognition, you hear some final words of warning from your unlikely ally. Shit, I have to go. I'll contact you again as soon as I can. Just be sure to act like a good little employee or they'll snuff you out. Make sure you find the Hive alright. Our utopia depends on it. Suddenly your screen shuts off, as if the phone ran out of battery. Let's check the caller ID history just in case we can tell who L is. There's nothing there except the call you had this morning with your aunt. A predictable, if disappointing outcome. Exhausted, you migrate to your mattress, hoping you'll dream a better dream than whatever this strange nightmare was. Your head hits the pillow and a flood of night terrors washes over you. Disturbing, surreal, almost silly stuff, like zombie apocalypses, or giving speeches in class while wearing lingerie you most certainly never worn before. It's almost a relief to witness such cartoonishly simple frights after a day like this. Part of you wishes they'd go on forever, even if they're scary and leave you stuck in a headspace where Smirnocore couldn't possibly exist. Yet again, you find yourself wishing you'd wake up to something else than this. Yet again, you wish time would ask permission before racing ahead. And yet again, the concept of reality proves to be an unkind, callous bitch. After a few brief, restless hours, your alarm's familiar chirping demands that you wake up. Time to clock in. The search for Melusine. It's been 2 weeks since you were hired, or 10 whole business days, as Mr. Burgar puts it. It feels strange to think of time in those terms now. Even a stranger, that 10 days is all it took for your life to change so much. A steady paycheck is a welcome relief from poverty, especially when the first one had more zeros than you expected. You've barely had the motivation to spend a single cent of it, let alone leave the house. Your nerves are shot and you barely sleep. You're losing weight in a noticeable non-fitness journey way. You haven't seen or nor spoken to any friends, fearing they might have become, or always have been, doppelgangers. And every time your hand itches, you wonder if it's the borodinium finally kicking in. Oh, and you're absolutely sick of wearing black turtlenecks. You're pretty sure the cheap acrylic is giving you an armpit rash. Your sole respite from all this misery has been a brand new hobby you picked up to stay sane. Let's go with collecting pirated video games. You can't afford to buy games legally, but you can't listen to play them. Rather, you get a transgressive rush whenever you crack a file you have no business owning. Figure out how to make it run on your piece of shit laptop. In due time, you might even use these skills to disable your microchip. Because the technological literacy is getting even higher. I think if we can keep on pushing that up, we might stand a chance. However, despite fears of replacement driving you to seek out new coping mechanisms, despite the dread that washes over you every time you step into the building, well, it turns out it's actually pretty easy to forget the threat of imminent doom when you're slowly dying of boredom. Outlandish decor and blood-soaked interviews aside, your first 2 weeks of Smirnocore were eerily uneventful. You haven't even worked yet, let alone been assigned to a desk by whatever administrative team you're sure definitely exists. You've just been locked away in meeting rooms, asked to peruse employee handbooks and attend seminars about workplace culture. The latter usually hosted by overworked secretaries with better things to do than entertain new hires. Other than yourself, the office is a buzz of panic. People rush by without a word every time you wave hello, or seem on the verge of killing sprees whenever coffee machines start running low. With the Radium Ink deal approaching, deadlines are tight, overwork is mandatory, and the stakes of Smirnocore's continued future are especially high. Even with your brain reduced to a stew of second-hand stress and corporate bluster, you can't ignore the stakes you're facing. The second that ink dries on that trade deal, the world will begin drowning in a sea of obfuscation. At least that's how Lel puts it. The stranger reached out many times since your first impromptu correspondence, asking very, very anxiously if you managed to track down Melusine and prevent Armageddon. Your answer has constantly been a shameful no. In theory, it should be easy to track down a receptionist, but you haven't seen her at her front desk since the day you arrived. Maybe she's on vacation, or maybe she's been too busy supervising prefrontal transplants to smiler visitors. Either way, you are forced to employ some less conventional strategies to track the tired-looking woman down. Let's not stalk her. We will attempt to research her online. It should have been a no-brainer, but the longer you look, the more you realise no traces of Melusine Saucier exist anywhere on the internet, and the same goes for you. Email account, IP address, embarrassing search history, all of it, scrubbed clean, courtesy of Smirnocore Radium deal, no doubt. Whether discouraged or embarrassed by your not-so-genius stratagem, L was quick to propose a foolproof alternative. Smirnocore will be hosting a free bunch of things at the office on Friday. I'm guessing the higher-ups want to keep their staff happy after working them to near death. But the thing is, They always made these dumb events mandatory, meaning everyone has to be there, Melusine included. Knowing her, she won't be staying long. The girl hates crowds with a passion. This might be our only chance to getting info about how to reach the hive, so skip out the area and track her down. Fast. And so here you are, standing in line, plate in hand, waiting for your serving of room temperature scrambled eggs. The reception area that greeted you 2 weeks ago is barely recognisable. Its thick shadows and thick ammonia stench have given way to glares of heated food lamps, tinged by the cloying aroma of undercooked breakfast sausage. A small army of employees fill the lobby with a dull roar, circulating between the buffet's unappetising trays. Dirt cheap potty streamers have been strung between the pillars' once unsettling sculptures, and plastered over the silver lettering of the company's engraved slogan. Memoriae perpetuitas mutatio is no more. Now there's only congratulations. You may all be depressed, but the spelling mistake on the banner somehow makes you sadder. Eventually, an old lady snaps at you to quit hogging the goddamn serving spoon, knocking you out of your disassociated trance. Leave the tray of eggs behind, you navigate throngs of hungry colleagues. You struggle not to spill your food, as you squeeze between too many people, tucked together far too tightly. Melusine has to be here somewhere, but picking her out in this horde of identical black turtlenecks definitely won't be easy. If you're going to find her, you're going to need a plan. And that plan will come next episode, because I think this might go on for a little while. So, looks like we are part of the resistance against Smurnacore. Be interesting to see how that goes. Probably not very successfully, but we'll see. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye bye.